right, let's dive in. Today, we're heading down to Brazil to explore the world of natural wines with Vanessa Medin.
Yeah.
You sent over her Minha Historia page. For those of us who don't speak Portuguese, that's my story. And wow, just glancing through it, her journey is fascinating.
Yeah, you can say that again. What really grabs me is this mix of deep roots and fresh perspective,
Mhm.
fourth generation grape grower,
Yeah.
talk about a family legacy. But she's also pushing the boundaries, kind of redefining what Brazilian wine can be.
Right, and then there's that whole born on enologist day thing.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, you can't make that up. Sounds like destiny had a hand in this. But
Yeah.
before we get too mystical about it, let's look at the path she actually took. Doesn't sound like a straight shot to natural winemaking, right?
Definitely not, no. She really paid her dues working every corner of the industry, starting at Cooperativa Aurora, one of the giants. She did everything there, from like donning traditional garb for tours to actual lab work.
Wow.
It's like she needed to understand wine from every single angle.
Interesting. So hands-on from the very beginning. Then there's her time at Miolo Wine Group. I mean, that's one of the most respected names in Brazilian wine. What do you think she learned during those years?
Well, I think it was like a masterclass in both traditional and modern techniques, working with Paolo Giacomoni,
Yeah.
getting into the nitty-gritty of bottling, lab analysis, all that essential foundational stuff. But then she's also in different regions, like Vale do San Francisco, where she's collaborating with Flavio Durate, who, well, he has a completely different perspective.
Right. Right.
Talk about a well-rounded education.
Yeah, wow, all these mentors, all these different styles of winemaking. I can only imagine how much that shaped her approach. But wait, there's more. Pizzado and Bueno wines too. What's the takeaway from those experiences?
I see this as Vanessa really honing her skills, becoming more involved in the actual winemaking process, With someone like Gilberto Samaggio at Miolo Serra facility, she's not just observing anymore, she's making decisions that impact the final product.
So soaking up knowledge, getting hands-on experience, working with all the big names. You can almost hear the gears turning as she's figuring out her own style. Which brings us to 2015 and Atelier Tormentus. This is where everything changes, isn't it? It's like love at first sight, but with natural winemaking.
Right, exactly.
What clicked for her specifically? Why this shift?
It's more than a shift, it's full-blown passion. And this is where her unique philosophy really starts to form. She's all about minimal intervention, letting those grapes express themselves, crafting these pure and vibrant wines. Think about it, she's seen all these techniques. But at Atelier Tormenta, she finds something that speaks to her on a deeper level.
I see. So she's finding her voice, her own way of expressing herself through wine. Okay, so natural wine, I know it's trendy. But what does it actually mean in Vanessa's world? It's going to be more than just a buzzword, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's about stripping things back, working with nature instead of trying to control it. We're talking native yeasts, minimal sulfur dioxide, no fining, no filtering. It's about letting the terroir, the grapes, the vintage, letting it all speak for itself.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting for me. She comes from this background of, traditional techniques, big wineries, all those established practices, and then she jumps headfirst into a world that's all about letting go, trusting nature. I can see how her past would really inform that approach. It's like she's seen both sides of the coin and is choosing a path that aligns with her values.
Exactly. And this is just the beginning. In 2018, she launches her own project in Vale dos Vinhedos. Talk about a dream come true. But she doesn't stop there. Heads to Portugal, works at Quinta de Armagueira, and even spends some time at Cousses in France. Thanks to fellow winemaker Lizette Bicari, this woman is driven, let me tell you.
Wait, hold on. Vale dos Vinhedos. What's so special about this region? I know it has those Italian roots, but what makes it unique for winemaking, especially the kind Vanessa is doing?
Well, besides the Italian heritage, which you can see in the grapes grown there, Vale dos Vinhedos is known for its microclimates. You've got hills, valleys, different exposures to sun and wind. This all means a wide range of possibilities for winemakers, especially those like Vanessa who are, focused on terroir expression.
So it's like the perfect playground for her to experiment and let those grapes shine. But then she's off to Portugal and France.
Right.
Why? What's she after? Is it wanderlust or something more strategic?
It's definitely more than just a vacation. I think she's consciously trying to broaden her horizons, learn from different traditions and terroirs. At Quinta da Armagueira, a place known for organic and biodynamic practices, she's diving deeper into those philosophies. And then in France, at Casses, she's getting a taste of a whole other approach to natural winemaking. It's all feeding into her own ever-evolving style.
Okay, I'm starting to get a picture of this woman. Deeply passionate, incredibly driven, always learning. But how does all of this translate into the actual wines she's making? I guess we'll have to find out in part 2.
So Vanessa's got this amazing foundation, right? The family history, the mentors, the global experience. But the real question is, how does it all come together in the bottle? What can we expect from a Vanessa Medin wine?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. Sadly, no tasting notes in the materials you sent. But I don't know, I'm picturing something bold, exciting, maybe a little unexpected, given everything we've talked about.
Yeah.
What kind of picture can you paint for us?
Well, her commitment to minimal intervention, that's key. Natural wines, especially with those native yeasts, they often have this vibrancy, this aliveness you don't find in conventional wines. They can be unpredictable, maybe even a little funky sometimes.
Okay, funky. I like the sound of that. So
Yeah.
we're not talking your typical supermarket Cabernet here. What about the region itself, Valle dos Vinhedos? How does that play into things?
Think rolling hills, diverse microclimates, and that Italian influence, right? So you might find those classic Italian varietals, Merlot, Cabernet Sauvignon. But Vanessa's probably putting her own spin on them. I wouldn't be surprised if she's experimenting with some lesser-known grapes, maybe even reviving some ancient varieties that are perfectly suited to the region.
Reviving ancient grapes, that's awesome. It's like she's uncovering these hidden treasures.
Yeah.
But then there's that Portuguese influence, too. How do you think her time at Quinta da Ermiguera is influencing her winemaking?
Well, Portugal's known for its incredible diversity of indigenous grapes, so maybe Vanessa is incorporating some of those into her blends, adding another layer of complexity and intrigue. Or perhaps she's adopted some of their traditional techniques, adding a touch of Portuguese soul to her Brazilian wines.
Okay, I'm hooked. Brazilian terroir, Italian heritage, a sprinkle of Portuguese magic, and Vanessa's unique touch weaving it all together. But wait, there's one more piece, France. What does she bring back from Cuba?
Well, France is like the heartland of natural winemaking, so even a short time there can be hugely influential. Maybe she picked up some new techniques for working with certain grapes, or learned about different approaches to fermentation. Or maybe it was more about connecting with other natural winemakers,
Right.
exchanging ideas, building those relationships within that community.
It's like she's created this tapestry of winemaking knowledge,
Yeah.
drawing from all these different corners of the world. But it's not just about techniques and grapes, is it?
No,
Yeah.
definitely not. There's this real sense of artistry and tension in her approach. It's more than just making wine. It's like she's crafting an experience, telling a story with each bottle.
It's like she's a chef who traveled the world, tasted all these different cuisines, and then came back to create something totally unique and personal. She's taken all these influences, the Brazilian, the Italian, the Portuguese, the French, and she's blending them into her own signature style.
That's a fantastic analogy. And just like a great chef, her success lies in that ability to balance those flavors, create a harmonious whole.
Okay, now I'm officially craving a glass of Vanessa Medin wine. But even without tasting it, I'm so impressed by her dedication, her passion, her willingness to, push those boundaries. She's not afraid to experiment, break the mold, forge her own path.
And that's what makes her such an exciting figure in the natural wine movement. She's not just following trends, she's shaping them.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what are the key takeaways you want our listener to remember about Vanessa Medin's wines?
I think it boils down to this. Expect the unexpected. These wines are going to be vibrant, expressive, full of personality. They're going to challenge your ideas of what Brazilian wine can be, and they're going to tell a story that's rooted in tradition, but also reaching for the future.
All right, so we've really dug into Vanessa Medin's story, from her family's roots to her global explorations, that dedication to natural winemaking, and of course how that all might play out in those flavors in the bottle. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah, it really has. It's amazing how she's brought together all these different threads: tradition, innovation, terroir, technique. It's something truly unique.
Now, we talked about Vanessa as this bridge between tradition and innovation, and I'm really starting to see that now, honoring her family's legacy, but also forging her own path, pushing the boundaries of what Brazilian wine can be.
Exactly. She's not rejecting tradition. She's building on it, adding her own artistry, her own vision. And in doing so, she's not just, making wine. It's more like making a statement.
What kind of statement would you say?
It's about authenticity, about connection to the land, letting go of control, trusting nature, making wines that are truly expressive of a place, a time, a philosophy.
That's powerful. And I think it really speaks to what we're seeing in the culture at large, this growing desire for authenticity, for things that are real, unfiltered, connected to their origins.
Yep.
And, Vanessa's wines seem to embody that perfectly.
They really do. And I think that's why her story is so inspiring. It reminds us that even in a world that's, becoming more and more homogenized, there's still room for individuality, for passion, for creativity. It encourages us to seek out those hidden gems, those people and products that are, well, doing things differently.
So for our listener who's been on this journey with us, what's the one thing you want them to take away from Vanessa Medin's story?
I think it's this. The next time you're choosing a bottle of wine, don't just grab the familiar. Take a chance on something new. Look for the stories behind the wines, and if you ever get the chance, seek out a bottle of Vanessa Medin's wine. It's an experience you won't forget.
Beautifully said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time, cheers to exploring the world one sip at a time.